Well, you've heard of a bucket list, right?
Yeah.
It's a list of things, big and small, that you want to accomplish often before you die.
Yeah, do you have one? Maybe you wish you did, but you don't know where to start. Our guest is here with some simple ways that you can start bucket list living. Welcome, Jen Baxter. She writes the blog, Live a Fast Life. Jen, it's great to see you. This whole idea of bucket list living, where did you come up with this idea?
It actually was sort of a result of my mom passed away in 2013. And she just had a 6-month battle with cancer, so it was very short. And she thought she was going to have time to do all these things later. So she wanted to live at the beach later. She wanted to get a VW Beetle later. And I really saw, like, up front, right in front of my face, that you don't know how much time you have. So I sort of came up with this concept of bucket list living, where you just intentionally live your life every day to try to knock off some of these things that you've always wanted to do.
Okay, so where does one start with this?
It might seem like a pretty obvious first step, but the first one is make a list. So a lot of people haven't even done that part yet.
Right.
So you really just need to take the time to really sit down and write down some goals, things that you've always wanted to do. If you don't already have a list, or if you're having trouble sort of thinking of things, you can think back to when you were in high school. You know, what did you enjoy doing when you were younger? What were you good at? What things do you sort of admire in other people? Or even just like, what places have you always wanted to go to? What landmarks have you always wanted to see?
You know, we were just talking about that. I'm thinking about what should be on your list. You know, you just kind of mentioned some of the things that should be on your list. Thinking back from your childhood and thinking about all those crazy things I wanted to do. I wanted to be a fireman, and I wanted to go ahead and ride the fire truck. I don't know if the fire department.
And it doesn't only have to be the big things. It can even it can be simple things too, like I just want more kindness in my life, or things like that, right?
I have things on my list that are just like learn to change a tire, because I'm like, I want to, you know, be able to say I can do that, all the way up to, you know, go see the Eiffel Tower in France. So I mean, it's little and big.
Now, how do we get the ideas flowing? Like you said, some people, I think when you are just kind of going about your day and you're so busy, because we all suffer from that disease of busyness, right? That you don't know how to answer this question necessarily. You know, like truly authentically answer that question. How do you get the ideas kind of flowing? What you really want on your bucket list?
I think just asking yourself those questions, and you can also, like I said, like think about what you admire in other people. So that might be, you know, a little spark right there to give you some ideas. And also just ask other people as well, because your friends and your family might be, you know, good sources of ideas that maybe you would have never thought of.
Now, how do you go about making a plan to actually do the things that are on your list?
So you really do have to make a plan. You have to actually, you know, put this on your schedule just like anything else. Put this on your budget just like anything else. Because a lot of people will say, you know, I don't have time to do these things, or I don't have money to do these things. But if you look in your schedule, you might be spending several hours watching Netflix or surfing Facebook. And you could be using that same time to go take an art course or go take a guitar lesson. And same thing with your money. You know, if you're spending $100 a month on Starbucks, you could take that $100 a month and put it towards something bigger that you've always wanted to do. So it's really just making that conscious effort of finding those places and then putting it on that budget, putting it on the calendar.
Okay, you take care of money. What about your time commitment? Because sometimes you just don't have the time to do anything.
There's always going to be some little pocket of time, though, like I said, because there's things where we're not even really realizing how we're spending our time. But if you are binge watching a show every night for 2 hours, you know, even that little bit of time could be something, like I said, for like a smaller item. If you want to take an art class, or if you want to learn to play an instrument, use that time instead of sitting in front of the TV to go out and make these things happen.
You also recommend, Jen, telling everybody that you know and everyone you meet what you're doing. Why?
I literally tell like everybody, even like the cashier in the store, because you never know who's going to have a connection or a resource that you might be able to use. So, you know, maybe you have a friend of a friend that owns a farm and you want to do horseback riding. You know, that might be an avenue that will get you to get that accomplished. So don't be shy about it. You know, talk to everybody about it, and then just see what sort of comes up.
So you work this in every part of your life?
I try to.
You try to, huh? And so do you also enlist friends to help you?
Yes. So speaking to your friends and family is not only a great way to find those connections, but also we are much more apt to follow through with something if there's someone else involved. If it's just us, we'll put it off. But if you actually make plans with a friend, you know, hey, we're going to do this together, you're much more likely to get it done.
I love the idea of asking yourself these kinds of questions because I think it's so easy to be a victim of just what I think other people expect you to do. Like, oh, now I have this job, and now I keep going at this job, and now I try to get a promotion, and now I have these kids, and you just kind
follow the
path that everybody takes, and without ever stopping to ask, like, is this really what I want?
And what ends up happening, unfortunately, is you don't really kind of get shaken out of that until you have a diagnosis. You have something happen, like with my mom, and you think, oh, there's always going to be time later, and then there's not always time later. Yeah.
Jen, thank you so much. Check out her blog. It's liveafastlife.com. Liveafastlife.com. You do a great job with your blog.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Well, thank you very much.